All right. So for you guys putting in a TKO, TKX, T56, whatever transmission, manual transmission you're putting in the car and you want to use a hydraulic clutch, we make a bracket and we'll show you how it installs here in just a second. But anyways, there's some benefits to running this bracket and this clutch master cylinder. And this clutch master cylinder, we usually source it as a late 90s, early 2000s, 4th gen Camaro clutch master cylinder, and they're cheap. They're like 60, 65 bucks. Now your alternative is this. It's a Tilton. Really the only benefit I see to this setup here is the fact that this rod is adjustable. Other than that, there's no reason to buy this that cost, you know, $200 something, and then you got to buy a bracket that cost, you know, another $100 or whatever to make it work, and it's just not money well spent. Well, this is a very affordable piece, but its only downfall is this rod here generally is a little bit too long and it tends to make your pedal a little bit high, but we have a solution for that. So we were able to shorten this, as this rod is basically just slid over this piston plunger here, and it's crimped. And so what I was able to do was grind where the crimps were, pull this thing off, take the rod, shorten it a 1/2 inch, put it back on, and crimp it on. And you may want to mock it up first before you shorten it to figure out how much you want to shorten it. And you got to keep in mind, if you shorten it too much, your clutch pedal will hit the floor before you fully disengage your clutch. So that's something to keep in mind as far as that goes. Another thing that you will need to do, and I don't have it, hasn't shown up yet, is they make a conversion fitting that goes in here where the hydraulic line goes. That converts it to a -8, -4 fitting to run to your hydraulic throttle bearing. And so the beauty of using this setup also is it uses this bracket, and this bracket will show you how it mounts, but it really makes your clutch pedal very rigid, whereas this one and the way it mounts generally is on a bracket that mounts on the firewall, and when you step on the clutch, the firewall goes bloop, 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 and your clutch pedal doesn't feel really good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna install this thing, and we'll show you what it looks like installed and what we did with the pedal. Okay, here's a video of the master cylinder installed. Here's our bracket. As you can see, it bolts in place of the booster. Obviously the booster's not in there right now. Here's where the fitting goes out, and we like to use the adapter fitting that has a straight fitting, and then it just runs over to your bell housing. As you can see, you know, the other Tilton ones just mount to this sheet metal firewall, whereas you got this bracket here that's mounted to a reinforced area of the firewall. So you're gonna get this thing's not gonna flex. So that's pretty cool. Here's your reservoir line. A lot of times, depending on where the booster's at, we'll use the same master cylinder reservoir that like a 3rd and 4th gen Camaro used. It's just a little round guy. We just mount it up here on the firewall. It's pretty simple to do. So here we're gonna show you what we did with the pedal arrangement underneath the car here. So it mounts in the same location as the stock push rod does. So basically the clutch feel is going to be about the same as whatever. If you move that pivot down, your clutch is going to get stiffer. So our bracket puts it at the proper angle. And like I said, we shortened the rod so the clutch pedal wasn't so high up off the floor. And one of the things that we learned by doing this was we actually put a stop, an up travel stop, you see that? To limit the force on the backside. If you look in here, there's a plunger going into the master cylinder, and what we found is as the clutch pedal, as it's released, there's a snap ring that holds that plunger in there. And we're doing a track day, and you know, you're
a lot harder on the clutch pedal than normal driving, and it popped that thing out, and we lost all the clutch hydraulic pressure, and good thing we were able to find it and kind of put it back together. But since then, that's what we do. We make a stop. You just want to make sure that there's no pressure. Your stop's not pushing down. This is at its pretty much its full travel, you know, and so anyway, so that's what we do. And really what you want when you're setting this thing up is you want your pedal to be able to have full travel for the clutch without hitting the floor. And so you can adjust your length of your rod accordingly. So it's kind of hard if you're always bottoming out the clutch master cylinder. I don't know if they're really designed to do that. I don't remember if the cards that these things came out of had a stop on them or not. But anyway, so those are things to keep in mind. And like I said, you know, modifying the length of this rod was pretty easy. We just literally ground the stake marks out of it, pulled it apart, cut the rod that's in the master cylinder a 1/2 inch shorter, slid it back together, and then we crimped it back together. And you could probably put it in a vise or do something to sort of, you know, crimp it back together. Welding it would be something that you could possibly do as well. If you just put some little tack welds on there, maybe put a wet rag on it to keep the master cylinder from melting when you weld on it. But so anyways, that's what we got. Visit our website. If you have any questions, let me know.